Today's episode of the Outline Podcast is brought to you in part by Sudio. It is Sudio's mission to revolutionize the way people see headphones, as not just a tech device, but also an accessory. Currently, the headphones market can offer you one of two things: style or tech. Sudio wants to bridge that gap. While emphasizing a modern Scandinavian design, they provide a product that matches the quality of the highest rated headphones on the market at a fraction of the cost. They also provide free worldwide shipping. Order a pair of Sudio headphones or earbuds today at www.sudio.com. Use discount code THEOUTLINE to get 15% off your order. All right, let's start the show.
The Outline with Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne. The Outline. With Kevin Dwayne. The Outline. With Kevin Dwayne. This is the Outline with Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne with Kevin Dwayne.
The audacity of these niggas. Y'all know I always have a story, and I mean, it just is what it is. It makes life interesting, and I'm here to share it all with you. So I'm on, I believe it was Grindr the other day, on Grindr. On the clock, of course, I'm at work, approaching lunchtime, whatever. Someone hits me up, little young guy, probably 24, 25, like young enough to be called a young guy. He unblocks his pictures, fine as fuck, tattoos and shit, nice little swag, fuckboy classics, things that I'm into, all the wrong shit that I like sexually, So I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, hey, trying to see what's up with you this afternoon. I'm like, I'm down for, whatever, it's about time for me to take a break. So, what's good? He's like, oh, well, let's link. I'm like, cool. Well, I can host, because I prefer to host. In case a motherfucker act up, I know where all my weapons are and I can fuck a motherfucker up. I don't like going to other people's shit. But whatever. I'm like, okay, whatever. He's just like, well, are you mobile? And I'm like, okay. For all you who don't know, the national translation for "are you mobile" means I am not, okay? So anytime someone asks you if you're mobile, it means they aren't fucking mobile. But they have a situation that they can host. Maybe they mama at work. Maybe their girlfriend is at the salon. I don't know, but it means they can host, but they cannot come to you. So I'm like, okay, already a red flag. I don't have an issue with motherfuckers who don't drive, but you do need to find a way to be able to get to where you're going without relying on other people. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, so I already see where this is going. He's just like, well, I can host, but I can't drive. I'm like, okay, I figured that shit. I was like, well, we're gonna have to wait until my break because I'm working right now, but that's gonna be in the next like 30 minutes. So, no sweat. He's like, okay, cool. Shoot me your number. So I'm like, okay, shoot the nigga my number. We're good. It takes him a second. He finally texts me. He's like, hey, you trying to link? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to link. Send me your address. Let's go ahead and get this process going. This is where shit kind of goes downhill. I mean, already the fact that he wasn't mobile, there was that. But, whatever. This is where it starts going downhill. He's just like, so do you smoke or drink? I was just like, not currently. And I'm kind of on the clock right now, so I wouldn't do either. So, yeah, no. He's just like, okay, well, do you mind if I do that? I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, that's fine. So then he sends me the address. But then with the address, he then says, well, do you mind going to get it? Now, I know what the fuck this nigga means by saying going to get it, but I just want to fucking clarify because I just need to hear your ass say what I think you're about to fucking say to me. He's just like, oh, get the weed. And I was just like, yeah, man, sorry, no, I don't transport. Like, nah, fuck that. And this is real talk. I don't transport weed. I am in Atlanta for the most part by myself. And what I mean by myself is I don't have motherfuckers out here who gonna bail me out if I catch a case. So I don't play about having shit in my car. I don't play about that. I don't transport. I mean that shit. I don't care what the amount is. We're in Georgia, you can catch a case. California, different story. New York, different story. But in Georgia, you can still fucking go to jail. So I don't play that shit, especially behind no other nigga who ain't mobile and can't get his shit. So I'm like, yeah, no, I don't transport, sorry. So he then cops an attitude, well, a text attitude, because we're via text. He's like, oh, well, you wouldn't be transporting it. It's in my hood, but I was just trying to get a Relio, to roll it up, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I guess. He's like, well, man, you know what? Never mind. I'm good. No thanks. You ain't got to come through, blah, blah, and that was just that. And so I was like, okay, whatever, nigga. And so I go back to like Grindr. This nigga blocked me. Now, this shit's hilarious as fuck to me for a couple reasons. Number one, are motherfuckers, the niggas really have like addictions to weed that much that you're literally orchestrating sex around it? Because in my mind, this motherfucker really wasn't trying to hook up with me as much as he was just trying to get a motherfucking ride to his connect. Like, he was trying to like Uber dick. Like, I get your hustle, but it ain't for me. And I was talking to Sensei Raven about this, make sure you guys listen to the Healing Space podcast. Shout out. It's a great show this week. Black, gay, unapologetic, quick little plug. Go check that out. But I was talking to him about it. He was like, yeah, it seems as though he was trying to do like a little double whammy. And I guess he figured like, oh, okay, I can get some ass and I can also, get my weed. But he probably was shook by the fact that you told him no. And you said he's attractive, so he's probably not used to motherfuckers telling him no. And I'm just like, whatever. So we moved on from that shit. But just the audacity, like, nigga, you ain't mobile. You don't have a motherfucking car. You hit me up on some let's hook up and fuck type shit. But then you want me to transport your weed for you? Like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm good. I'm not partaking. I'm not there. I was just trying to get some dick on my lunch break, but that's not happening now. So fuck you. Like, it is what it is. The audacity of these niggas. And it's just, I don't know. It's just young niggas, man. And this is my problem. I like young niggas. I do. They're so appreciative of things. Like, except that one. He was trash. But the other ones, they make you feel, they inflate your ego. They inflate my ego. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm doing some shit when I'm around a young nigga. They're like, oh, damn, you a photographer? Oh, you do a little podcast? Oh, you got a place? You got cable? You got a car? You got a Costco car? Like Netflix and everything? Like, you doing real good for yourself. Young niggas make you feel like, make you feel a certain way. Older niggas be like, well, you supposed to have all that shit. You're an adult. Yes, you're right. I agree with you. But it's nice to have your ego, rubbed a little bit. And I appreciate that from young niggas. And it's funny because fast forward later to that day, this other little young tender I've been kicking it with, we only kicked it like twice, but he came through and we were sitting talking and he was just like, so how old are you again? And I was just like 32. He was like, that blows my mind, man. Like, he's like, I just don't get 30s from you, like, at all. Like, at best, it's like late 20s. And I'm just like, number one, in my mind, I'm like, what the fuck does 30s look like to y'all? Like, what is it supposed to look like? Like, 30s is not that old, but I do get it because when I was in my early 20s, I used to think the same thing. So I get it, but still, like, we ain't fucking, old as fuck like that. Like, but whatever. He was like, no, like, I just feel like you just seem like mad young, like visually, like black really don't crack. You look hella fucking good, man. And I was just like, see, I was already going to throw you some head, but now I want to pay your phone bill because, see, flattery will get you every fucking where. This is why I like young niggas. They know what to say. They know how to get shit. Like, you need what you want me to pay your bill? Like Metro PCS, Cricket, what's up? Like, I got you. Like, I don't need you without, talk time. But but whatever. The audacity of these niggas. Like, I don't get, like, motherfuckers with nothing just being entitled as fuck and then mad at you for saying you're not gonna give up your fucking resources for them. But another day in the life. That's this week's story. I have one every goddamn week. Let's move forward. This is the Outline Podcast. Thank you so much for joining another show. It's Wednesday. We have a great show ahead. Later on, I'm going to have the CEO, founder, creator of RawMosley.com, which is a tall men's fashion guide. Raw Mosley. He's going to be on the show later to talk about the do's and don'ts of fashion, how he got started, why he started, and we have a really good conversation all about being fashionably great. So looking forward to that just a little bit later in the show. Over the weekend, I got a chance to check out Love, Simon. Let me tell you something. Between Love, Simon, and there's no spoilers to all of you who are going to see it. I'm not going to spoil it at all, so don't turn it off. Keep listening. I saw Love, Simon over the weekend, and I am completely in love with it. Between this movie and Black Panther, they are my favorite movies of the year, bar none. And I don't see anything topping either of them anytime soon. I just don't. Black Panther was important to me and special to me because it gave me the representation I needed as a Black man, as a Black person. Love, Simon gave me representation as a gay man in a way that didn't feel like it was like being gay was scandalized. It was literally a story of just normal ass characters, and one or a few of them just happened to be gay. It wasn't like the shit we're used to. I've never seen a movie that was like this, where it was just well balanced, like where being gay wasn't necessarily the center of the story. It was an important factor, but it wasn't like this whole thing. There was all these other things going on around the character where it wasn't the center. It was an amazing movie. Like, I was so touched by it, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna see it a few more times. Like, if you have not seen Love, Simon, go see it. It's an amazing film, and it's crazy because the film is geared towards high school teens. I mean, that's what it's centered around. Like, senior year, coming of age. Hey, I'm grown as fuck. I've been out of school, 13, 14 years now? Yeah, 14 years. Fuck! I've been out of school 14 years, high school. I graduated in 2004, so it's been a while for me, but the movie was still cute. It was still entertaining because I've been there. I know what it's like to come out, and it was just beautiful seeing a movie that showed it in a way where it just wasn't like, I don't want to give away anything. Go fucking see it. Just go see it. It's a great movie. I loved it so much. Shout out to Natasha Rothwell for her appearance in the movie. Natasha is Kelly from Insecure, the funniest person ever, the one who writes the slave narrative. I got the name of it. Oh my God. But she writes the slave narrative, and she has all the quick one-liners. She's in the movie. The character that she plays is very similar to the one in Insecure, but it was a breath of fresh air to see her in that movie. It was super cute. I loved it. Go see it. So good. Another movie I checked out on Netflix was Roxanne, which is a story of Roxanne Shante. If you don't know Roxanne Shante, you don't know hip hop. I mean, this goes back to 1979, 1982 and on. She's the one who had the answer to Roxanne, I want to be your man. When it comes to just women rapping, like, she's at the forefront of that, man. And this movie was giving her credit for that. And I mean, she's the one who came up with the line, "I birthed you. I gave birth to you. You people are my sons." Like, Nicki Minaj didn't create that. That comes from Roxanne Shante. And you have all the receipts on her music and even her styling and everything. It's just Queensbridge all fucking day. The movie itself, starring Nia Long, Mahershala Ali, and newcomer Shantae Adams. I thought that was dope how Shantae Adams plays Roxanne Shantae. Great acting. Standout for me, for sure, was Nia Long. Never seen Nia Long play a character like this. Never seen her play a mom so powerful and so different. And it was really a stretch for her, you can tell. And it was a decent movie. This is what I'll say. I'll tell you to watch it. Definitely watch it and form your own opinion. I had different expectations for it when it comes to biopics and stuff like that, but it was still a decent movie. The acting was but the way it was told was just different. It was different. It was kind of dark in my opinion. You definitely felt it. It was a quick watch, I think. I feel like it was only like an hour and a half. It wasn't that long of a movie, but it wasn't bad. Some people were using the word they hated, they disliked it. I wouldn't even say that. I thought it was a good movie. And like I said, the acting alone was very, very good. It's just, it had a different flow to it, but I still say watch it. So if you haven't checked it out, it is now streaming on Netflix. So make sure you have a little gander at that if you have a quick little moment and just learn about, the founders, the legends, man. Roxanne Shante is a legend of hip hop in general, but just at the forefront of women rappers, you know what I mean? So definitely check it out on Netflix. And speaking of music, I don't talk about a lot of music, which is crazy because y'all know I'm a huge fan of music. Like, I'm surprised I don't talk about it enough on here. But Friday, people were just releasing joints on Friday. Like, I'm happy with all the releases that came out on Friday. Number one, motherfucking Chloe and Halle Bailey? Chloe and Halle Bailey. These girls are like 18 and like 20. They were the first signees of Parkwood Entertainment, Beyonce's label, a few years ago. She discovered them on YouTube singing her songs, and she signed them. And I know when they first came out, people didn't know where they would fit. They didn't get it. I enjoyed their music, but even I was kind of like, okay, let's see where this goes. I really fell in love with them recently on Grownish. Their characters are perfect on Grownish. They play twins. They're actually just sisters in real life, but they play twins in Grownish, and they're so funny and so cute. Well, they released an album on Friday called The Kids Are Alright, and that damn set of music is so good from beginning to end. Favorite songs on that album, I mean, High Low, Everywhere, Galaxy, Happy Without Me. That song is on repeat all the time. Cool People. It's a great album. It's a great album. Those vocals are amazing. As much as I hate comparing people, sometimes you need to kind of do it to have people understand what they're going to be listening to. And I know if you haven't listened to Chloe and Halle, you'll probably want to know what you're going to be hearing. They give me a new age genre. The way they sing over each other as far as like layered vocals and the way they harmonize is very this generation's genre. And they also give me two Beyoncés singing. They have a lot of elements of Beyonce in them naturally, and it's just on another level that's really, really dope. It's a great album. It's called The Kids Are Alright. Check it out. And it's funny because their Grownish co-host, Trevor Jackson, and his fine ass. Oh! That man is fine. Like, and it's funny. Like, I keep telling y'all about young niggas. Trevor Jackson is exactly the type of young nigga that I be having up and through my apartment all the time. Like, that's my judge right there. Woo! Lord Jesus. But he released his I don't know if it's a mixtape or an album. I don't know what people call their stuff. He released a set of music. It's called Rough Drafts Part 1. I enjoyed it. He gives me respectable Chris Brown. Like, he ain't beat nobody up. He ain't on drugs as we know of it. He's real responsible. He beats it up responsibly because he talks about sex in the album. He got some, like, right now, make you want to put the legs up. Lube it up, get it ready. Like, he got some songs about sex on there, but it just seems real respectable. Like, he gonna beat it up, but, he ain't gonna black your eye, too, He ain't got, no deep mental issues with it. Like, it's just, it's pretty balanced, so it works out. So he's pretty, it feels like responsible listening, because, you know, even with Chris Brown, like, you enjoy the music, but you know, deep down inside, this nigga ain't shit though. Like, fuck. With Trevor Jackson, you get all the thrills and, you know, all the shit of Chris Brown without all the back drama and the think pieces and shit. So I definitely say check out Rough Drafts. And finally, Toni Braxton released her umpteenth album, because I don't know the count anymore. I just don't. Love Toni Braxton to death. Sex and Cigarettes. I love it. I love it. I know people feel some type of way when legends and people who are up in age release albums. They feel like they should just stop at a certain point. I don't feel that about Toni Braxton. I think Toni Braxton consistently puts out good music. Sex and Cigarettes is only 8 tracks, but they're 8 good ass tracks. And what I noticed about the songs, almost all of them are about resentment and coping for a love loss. And if I didn't know any better, I think Toni was talking about her ex-husband, Carrie, because I'm like, this sounds like you're talking about your ex-husband. But she's about to get married, if she isn't married already, to her boyfriend, Baby of Cash Money. Interesting pair, those two. Like, I didn't see it, but I also know that with other people's relationships, you can't tell people who they're supposed to be with. Like, she sees something in him and he sees something in her, and you gotta let them do that. I just know she seems genuinely fucking happy right now. Even on Braxton Family Values, she seems very happy. She's glowing, so I'm here for it. I love people getting the love that they deserve and want and desire, and just being happy about life, and it shows in the music. She looks gorgeous for the video. Long As I Live, Tawanda and Tamar's are in it. They're doing like a little cha-cha. It's a good ass song. The album's really, really good. I like every track. I especially love FOH, which means fuck out of here. And I love hearing Toni Braxton say that shit. Fuck out of here. Like, what? You better sing that shit. And I enjoy it. I like it. A lot of people have been complaining about how short albums are, but I think there's a lot of factors that people aren't considering. Number one, your $10 a month that you pay to Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify, that don't do shit for the artist. I hate to break it to you. That ain't doing shit for the artist. You're paying a subscription to have access to entire catalogs of music of millions, and I mean that, millions of artists. That is not putting any money in the artist's pocket. That's putting money in the platform's pocket. So stop thinking that you're buying into albums. What pays into artists are you going to see them in concert? So here's the thing. Making music costs money. So I understand why people are saying we're only going to release EPs, we're only going to release 8 tracks, we're only going to do this, because you got to pay engineers, you got to pay producers, you got to pay writers, studio time, so on, so on, so on, and so on. So it makes total sense that people are releasing shorter sets of music so that they can have enough to just go on tour, so you can then buy a ticket to support them. Also, because of digital platforms, people aren't listening to full bodies of work anymore. They're listening to individual tracks and they're moving on. People aren't trying to invest in creating this whole image that they used to do back in the day, because you aren't buying fucking full albums. It blows my mind that people complain about shit that they don't even pay for. It's like when Facebook makes a change, people complain, Facebook made a change, nigga, it's free. Oh my God, this artist won't give us 21 tracks. Well, nigga, you ain't buying the 21 tracks. Like, just enjoy the shit they give you. They don't owe you music. They don't owe you anything. Enjoy the shit you get and deal. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. We're in a different time, and not everyone is trying to put all that effort into something that's really not padding their pockets, even if it is just for the art itself. Appreciate what you get. Buy tickets to the show, because that's what gets to their pockets, and support them that way. But, you know, it's just the time period we're in. We're not in a full cohesive album time anymore. So when we get it, we're appreciative. Like, love Control, love The Kids Are Alright, love Lemonade. Like, there are artists who are still out here giving you full albums that have a whole feel to them, but we're not in a time period where that's going to be the norm anymore, because people are only skimming and skipping tracks and moving around. Like, sometimes it's just not worth it. for the sake of it. It really depends on an individual artist. But don't let the 8 tracks on Toni Braxton's album fool you. They're really good out. Like, I didn't skip a 1 track. I love them all. They're good. She sounds better than ever. She looks beautiful as fuck. She's serving. And it's pure dopeness. It's pure fucking dopeness. So check out that album. Check out Trevor Jackson's album. Check out Chloe and Haley's album. Watch those movies. And yeah, that's your entertainment for this week. I want to give a quick shout out to people who left comments on last week's show, starting with @strong.persevere on Twitter, or not on Twitter, I'm sorry, on Instagram. They said, great show. I love how Christina just took over asking some great questions. A tall drink, a frequent listener of the show. Shout out to him. Thank you so much for listening. He said, OMG, the way I was glued to my phone listening to part 2. Dude, this episode had me gagging at you and Christina's dialogue on niggas. Because we talk about niggas all the time. Sex, porn, and counterfeit position dudes try to play. This is by far my fave. Please bring her back. She is a great co-host. Your vibe is everything. Listen, if Christina lived in Atlanta, or if I lived in California, I would love to have her as a co-host. She is the only motherfucker I can tolerate in my space and on my show, like, over and over and over again. I know she won't be on no fuck shit, and it will be great, but, you know, that's just not how it is. But in the future, who knows what can happen? Maybe we can have a separate show with her, with she and I. But I really enjoyed those 2 weeks of listening to her, and I'm glad we have those on the books, and I'm glad you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for the comment. And finally, @Searching for Timothy on Instagram said, I am absolutely loving this episode of The Outline with Christina featuring Kevin Dwayne. Shade! It's not shade. I know we said that it was her show. I was literally just a guest that week. She is giving me Barbara Walters 2020 Get the Real Tea vibes. I love her. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much, Timothy, for the comment, and thank you so much for listening. If you guys want your comments featured on the show, make sure you leave them on SoundCloud, on KevinDwayne.com. Leave your ratings on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, Google Play Music. Make sure you're sharing it with your friends, and tag me, boo, @me. The Outline Podcast on Instagram. You can your host, me, The World of Kevin on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find me, tag me, the fan page on Facebook, all that good stuff. And I will feature your positive comments. I'm not about to include negativity on my page. I'm not that nigga, but I'll include your positive stuff. But yeah, let me know what you think of the show, and I would love to include you on a nice little roundup of comments. All right, well, that's this portion. When we come back, we're going to sit with Ra Mosley and talk about being fashionably great. Be right back. This week's podcast is also brought to you by the LGBT Arts and Culture Music Festival in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, Memorial Day weekend. That is May 25th through 29th of 2018. This weekend is going to be amazing, with so many people being featured: Shirley Ralph, Tamar Braxton, Sean T, James Wright Chanel, Tweet, Monifa, Patrick Riley, Frenchie Davis, actors from Sylvester Musical, so many. But among them, there's also going to be an awards gala, empowerment and networking social, celebrity karaoke, a gospel brunch. It's just going to be a great weekend. Make sure you register by going to www.lgbtmusicfest.com or call 404-756-8433. Make sure you let them know that Kevin Dwayne of the Outline Podcast sent you. Enjoy your time. Let's get back to the show. All right, you guys, welcome back to the Outline Podcast. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, I have a guest today. Today's guest is Rod Mosley, and he is the lifelong creative behind the tall men's lifestyle site, rawmosley.com. He's a graduate of Morehouse College who stands at 6'10", which is tall as fuck. Mosley transitioned from a career in healthcare to explore his passionate interests in clothing and personal style. Thank you for joining the show today, Rod.
Thank you for having me.
Listen, okay, so 3 things I have to point out here. I admire you for these two things. Number one, you're a Pisces. I mean, I am too. So I think we're like a day apart. And so that's number one on my list. Two, the visibility of your site in the last year has like skyrocketed. I love like the moves you've made in the last year, and we'll talk more about that. And three, speaking of the site, you're tall as fuck. And I just think tall dudes just out here winning. Like tall dudes get a pass on so many fronts. Like tall dudes just got it. So I'm excited to finally connect with you and have you on the show because I think your site is absolutely amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
So tell me something. Let's talk about your background a little bit. So you're a Morehouse man. Tell us about that.
Oh, well, my experience at I came in Morehouse. I moved to Georgia in 2000, back in 2000. So my journey through Morehouse wasn't the traditional journey. I came in as what they call a second semester freshman. I was 22 years old, so I transferred in. But I think I still got the full experience, even though I didn't start right out of high school or whatever. And it was an experience that I definitely would not change anything about it. Sometimes I regret not you know being more involved with campus activities and stuff because I had to work also. And I didn't finish in the 4 year time frame that I originally wanted to. But everything works out the way that it's supposed to work. It's like you can make a plan to say, "Hey, I want to do this, and I want it to be done by that," but it don't always go that way. And sometimes the fact that it doesn't go that way, it works out better the way that it flows, and which was the case for me because when I first came in, it was like it was really no pun intended. It was a different world for me. Like I was not like I felt like my high school and school at home didn't really prepare me for college. So it was like I had to work harder, and it was like Morehouse was a whole nother level for me. It's a lot of smart guys, a lot of like geniuses, and it's like I have to work harder. Like I spent more time studying than I've ever done in my life my freshman year at Morehouse, and it was like I still was kind of like struggling. It was hard for me to adjust to that coming from, from I went to community college for a couple years, but I still just felt like I wasn't prepared for that for that level, and it took me a bit to get on track. I was on academic probation, and I had to work through stuff, and it was crazy. So like I ended up taking a break off because I just felt like I really wasn't like focusing and doing what I should have been doing in school. I was on the bad boy street team. That's when street teams was real popular. So
Yes, street team.
so I was, I thought I was about to be working for Bad Boy Records. So I was, the college rep for Bad Boy Records, for J Records, and all of this stuff. So I really was like doing all of this other stuff instead of like I was still going to class and doing my work. It's just I didn't know how to prioritize things because I was more dedicated to like I want this summer internship with Bad Boy. I want to work for them. Da da da. So it's like I would focus more on that than my schoolwork, and it showed. So I ended up taking time off from school, and you know how that happens. Like one semester turned to another semester. Then I'm gonna go back next year. I'll start back in the fall, and that turns into another year. And I just got caught up in the whole working, like the adult shit.
It will get you. It will get you.
Car note, rent, all of that. It was just like I gotta get back in school. I gotta finish because that's one of the things that I promised my mom. I was like, I'm gonna finish. And I didn't want to go to, everybody was like, well, why don't you just transfer to Georgia State or why don't you go to another school? And I'm like, look, I'm a Morehouse man and I'm nothing. That's all I ever wanted to be. I said, it don't matter how long it take me to finish, I'm going to finish at Morehouse.
And you did.
And I did. And so like, long story short, I eventually went back and finished up. And when I tell you like, I was I think maturity and aging kind of helped me too because I truly think that some people when people go to college and they just not like focused like they should be, it's because they're not ready for it. Some people are not ready for it, and it's sometimes you have to experience other things before you could be like truly focused on that goal, if that is a goal. And so with me, when I went back, it was like I'm like, I think when I went back I was 31 or 32. And so I'm in the classroom with like 18 and 19-year-olds, and I'm like, oh, I can't, like, first of all, I got in my own head about that because I kept like beat myself up over that because I'm like, oh my God, I'm so much older than these guys, and I'm in class and I gotta, focus on work, and it's like I have to kind of like I learned a lot from them because a lot of them some of the classes and some of the subjects was still fresh in their mind because they just graduated high school or whatever. So I don't I would never say, hey, you can't learn something from somebody that's younger than you, because some of them guys really helped me in some subjects that I was like struggling in. But it, like I say, my focus was totally different because I didn't have no room for error. Like, I was still working full time, and like matter of fact, my last semester before graduation, I took a course overload, which I think I had like 19 credit hours, and I was working full time. But that was like the best semester ever because it's like I was on this schedule, and I think I work best under pressure like that because I didn't
Yeah.
have any room to mess up. I had to focus. I had to go to work because I had to pay bills. I had to be at class. I had to make sure work was done. My schoolwork was done. So I was just on everything, and
I feel like it's honestly, I crack up. Like, me and Sensei Raven talk about this all the time. Like, anyone who doesn't believe in astrology is foolish to me because, like, I feel like I'm talking to myself. Like, I feel like I'm listening to you tell my story, but was in a whole different area of the world. I was in LA. It also took me some time to finish college. I did it all from high school, but it did take me a total of 6 years because of the loss of focus, because of wanting to also be a part of the entertainment industry. I was a lover of music like you, and we'll talk about that too. And I just crack up at the similarities because I totally know what you mean. And I think it honestly humbles you. And I think going through that gives you more experience to do it right the second time around.
definitely.
So I think it probably worked in your favor, honestly.
It worked in my favor in more ways than one because like I had a good relation with my financial aid advisor then. She was like she was really a person who cared about like students getting money and being able to get to class. But she ended up leaving Morehouse, and I kind of got lost in the shuffle, and it was a struggle. But when I went back, because the president of financial aid office, he worked out at the same gym, and he was like, "Hey, did you ever finish da da da?" And he's like, "Come to my office and see me on Monday." So he helped me out so much, like as far as like everything just kind of like played the way that it was supposed to, and it really helped me, finish up. And I kind of became like the big brother on campus because I would be telling them guys, look, y'all got it easy now. Go to class, get your work done. Y'all got it easy. Like,
You got one job.
yeah, you got one job. Just do that job. So yeah, it definitely like, worked out the way that it was supposed to. And it's like I know the class that I came in with, and then I know younger guys. So it's kind of like I'm in between everybody. So I have that connection with, both older alumni and the young alumni.
It's like a purpose. It adds to purpose. Like I know with me, because it took me so long, I'm very honest. I didn't enjoy my college experience. And I'll tell anybody that. I'll always tell young people to get an education and to go learn something and to perfect a skill. I'm here for college. I'm here for picking a school you want to go to. My story was I went where my mom told me I was going, and I hated it. It was a commuter school. There was no campus life. So I had no desire to even do well. I didn't like it. And I've always been a creative. I'm a photographer now. I mean, granted, I do work in corporate America too. And I guess that's what my degree got me, but I'm still a creative at heart. And I didn't have the backbone to admit that to my parents when I was 17 or 18. So, but I always tell people, yeah, go find out what your trade is, study it, and have a skill in it. And I know with like with my nephews and the younger people in my life, I always say, okay, focus. Like right now, before you get a car note, before you get that, whatever you're doing, focus on that, build that skill. Don't worry about relationships. Don't worry about all this stuff because I believe that just because I took the hard route, you shouldn't have to. Now, there's certain things that we have to learn on our own, yes. But if I can let somebody know the truth about the matter, I'm like, okay, yeah, definitely study, go to class. Because I didn't really have anyone who did that for me when I was in school, which was interesting to me. I didn't have any mentors or anything. And that's partially my fault because I didn't seek them out either. But I do know how important it is to have an elder or someone older than you to say, okay, here's the deal, you
Yeah,
know?
I definitely, yeah, I feel the same way because I didn't have that either. And like, it's funny because like when I went home, I'm from Michigan, so when I went home, this was last summer. I talked to one of my cousins, and she went to Howard, like out of high school. Her and my brother graduated the same year, so she went to Howard, and she ended up. I think she did a year at Howard, and she ended up coming back home, and she went to Michigan State, and she finished up at Michigan State. But she said the same thing that I said. She was like, getting into Howard was a different world for her. She was like, she didn't feel that she was prepared. And I always looked up to her because she was in high school. She was one of the smartest girls in high school. So it was like for her to say that, she got there and it wasn't what she, thought it would be. And she had to come back home and regroup. It was like, okay, now I don't feel bad because I really thought, I was like, something's wrong with me. Maybe I got a learning disorder.
No, it's perspective. That's all. It's just perspective. And I completely identify with that. It's life. And I think one thing I know about the schooling system in general is the idea that we pretend that everyone's brains work the same, and that's flawed. You have people who are left brain, you have people who are right brain, like I said, I grew up a creative. So a lot of that stuff was just like, fine. Like I got A's and B's because of my discipline and my parents not playing that with me. So I knew how to study, but as far as like capturing those kind of ideals of math and science, it didn't come easy to me. I had to actually put a lot of effort into it. Whereas things on the creative side just came just naturally. Like it took no work at all, And so I totally get where you're coming from with that.
Yeah.
So when did you start your career in healthcare?
I've actually, when I started my career in healthcare right before I left Michigan to come here. Like,
Okay.
really, like I started that job. I work in dialysis. I started the job in, I think it was February of 2000, and I got my acceptance letter for Morehouse, like maybe that same month that I started the job. And I let them know, I was like, hey, come this fall, I'm not going to be here. So I already started. Luckily, the company that I was working for, they had clinics all over. So I was able to transfer. And when I got here to school, like I didn't work my first semester. I wanted to try and get, settled in with school and all that. And then like second semester, I reached out to a lady who's actually still my boss to this day. Like, I talked to her. She told me to come up there and see her or whatever. And she ended up finding a spot. Like I started like working like a couple days a week. Then it kind of grew or whatever. But yeah, that's when I started. So I've been working in healthcare now for 18 years, and I'm at the end of the road with that.
Listen, at the way your site is going, I absolutely believe that. I absolutely. And in fact, let's go ahead and transition to it. We've gotten, that out the way. Let's talk about some passions here. Okay, so ronmosley.com. Give us give the listeners, because I know about it. Tell us about it and tell us what was your inspiration for creating it.
Well, ronmosley.com is a tall men's lifestyle guide. And it covers pretty much everything that like stuff that I've gone through growing up, finding clothes. It's just, I wanted to create something that, because I always get asked like, where do you find clothes? You dress nice, what size shoe you wear, where you find shoes, stuff like that. So I was like, and there's a lot of guys in general that don't like shopping. So when you think about that, and then you think about a tall guy who probably have a hard time finding clothes, they really don't like shopping because they're like, it's a waste of time for me to go there because they're not gonna have my size or da da da. I can't find it. So most of the time they kind of tend to stick to one thing. Like if they find something that they like, they'll rock with that and keep wearing that same thing over and over. And it doesn't have to be like that. especially not now. It's more clothing companies that are making extended sizes. I always say this, and when people ask me, I really dislike the word big and tall because I think that it it really doesn't. It might describe some people, but it doesn't describe all. Because
Right.
one thing about big and tall clothing stores, they cater more to big than tall, and it's like even when I go in and I pick out a shirt, it's like I have to go up on the sides for the shirt for the sleeves to be long enough, but the stomach area still be too big, so I have to get it taken in. So it's like it it's more big than tall because it's like a tall guy can't go in there and find a shirt that's long enough for him and also fits his torso the way that it should fit. Or with jeans, you have to be super skinny, like for the long length. But now they're starting to make, like in between, because I'm like probably a 38 waist. So, but my length is a 36. So, but before it was hard to find that. Like, and luckily at the time when it was like when I started buying my own clothes and when, I really, really got into fashion, which was like high school to college, hip hop clothing was, so popular. So it was like everything was baggy. So the length didn't really matter because it was so baggy and it was a little bit longer than what it truly was. Like a 34 length was really a 36 length because it was oversized. So the one thing that I wanted to be able to do was create a space where guys could come to, and I also try and add stuff that everybody could take from the website, whether they're tall guys or not, because I have grooming tips and stuff like that too.
Right. And the talk, and you also have the music pieces. Like, you have some really great stuff on the site.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I want it to be as far like, because I know like when you kind of categorize something as one thing, people feel like, well, why would I come and check it out because I'm not tall or I'm not this, da da da. But that's why I try and add more things. And I'm working on other stuff that I could bring to the site too that will, include everyone. But it's just it truly was founded on the fact that, I wanted to be a blogger that helped other tall guys, especially young guys, because I see young guys like, when I think back when I was in high school and when I was going to the ninth grade, and my pops we had to drive all over Detroit trying to find a size 15 shoe, and we could not find shoes. So
Oh, man.
we finally found a shoe that I liked. I had to wear that shoe with every damn thing, and it was just like, oh, I hate this. Like, and my feet, technically for my height, my feet are kind of small because I have a friend who's my height, and he wears a size 18.
You're 6'10",
Yeah,
which
6'10".
I can't. I don't think we've ever met in person, but I'd remember that. Like, that is wow. Okay, so I'm 5'6", so 6'10" just seems like the craziest thing to me in my head. But that's like wow, and I think what I always talk about, like, privileges and stuff. I don't think people really consider what it's like to be in a frame where you're always covered. Like me, I know I'm always going to find jeans and stuff in multiple sizes and shoes. Like, I'm a 9.5 shoe. I know I'm going to find it. In fact, a lot of times I can't find it because it's such a popular size, if that makes sense. Whereas I never even consider going places and have to go to store to store to store, or even ordering online. And I know you're talking about times before online shopping was even a thing.
Right.
Because that's like the last, decade? Like, of solid. So I couldn't imagine like really being frustrated. And that's what it sounds like. You're frustrated.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, I can't remember the name of they were Nikes. Can't remember the name of the shoe, but I remember exactly how that shoe looked because I literally had to kind of like wear that shoe with almost everything. And then I remember my godfather. It was this store in downtown Pontiac. He took me and he bought me some they were like casual dress shoes. And so it's like, okay, now I got a second pair that I could kind of mix up a little bit.
Yeah.
My school shoes. So it was like, yeah, it was rough. And then when I finally when I got my first job and were able to, start getting stuff that I want and saving my money to get what I want, I started to that's when Eastbay was the thing to order.
Oh, Eastbay used to be popping,
Yeah.
man.
I used to be on Eastbay clockwork. Like every time I saved up a little bit of money, I was getting more shoes and just kind of like doing stuff that I wanted to do with, as far as getting clothes and whatnot. Because my mom was like, "Look, you working now? You could help buy these clothes."
Right. So did that ignite your interest in fashion?
Oh, definitely.
Just the hunt for it, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm finding stuff for me.
Definitely. And I always marched to the beat of a different drummer, I think. Even with my height, like I didn't win best dressed in high school, which I felt like I should have, but that's a whole nother story. I didn't have a Coogee sweater in high school, and the person who won had Coogee sweaters, so I wasn't about to spend that much money on a sweater. So, yeah.
Teenagers are dumb though. Teenagers, they always flock to brand. That's one thing I hated about high school. It was always about brand and not actual style.
Yeah, and I was like, I know that. I mean, don't get me wrong, he dressed good, but I think that like, and not to be like bigging myself up or blowing my head up, but I started a couple trends at my school in high school, and I know that for a fact. I don't know if you remember the Jinko jeans. They were kind of like they kind of look like cross colors a little bit, but they had the wide legs, and then they had a vest to go with it, and so like I remember, was it Merry-Go-Round or DJs? I think Merry-Go-Round had it first. And so I went in there, and I went in Merry-Go-Round, and I got the outfit. I had a purple one. And I got this striped shirt to go with it. And I went to school with my Jinko outfit on and the striped shirt. Everybody's like, where you get that from? Where you get that from? Literally the next couple weeks, everybody was wearing those outfits with striped shirts. And I'm like, they got this shit from me.
You were out there modeling, like you were out there. That's hilarious.
I did this shit, like I needed to be paid for that shit at that time because I really like. I promise you, I really got everybody onto wearing that, and like from there, it was just like it was always. My brother, my older brother, he's a creative also, and he draws and he designs, and he actually used to design for Pelly Pell for a little while. But that was our thing. Like we would watch House of Style on MTV. Just anything that was fashion related, we were into it because, and I think it comes from my mom. My mom always made sure that we were dressed nice. Like always made sure we had nice clothes and stuff like that. It's just I was the child that kind of grew a little bit beyond her budget.
You were the challenge.
I was the one that was like, okay, like I'm gonna still make sure you dress nice. It's just we might not be able to find certain things, and we have to find alternative routes to doing this. But like my mom just always made sure that we dressed nice and had nice clothes. We never walked around looking crazy.
I feel that. Now, do you design as well?
I cannot draw to save my life. I have ideas and stuff, and one of the things that I also with going along with creating the website is I want to have my own clothing line eventually, and it's something that I'm kind of like working on.
That's
But I
awesome.
have a vision for things, and I could describe it to someone and show them exactly what I want it to look like. I just can't draw, and that's where my brother comes in because I feel like we're kind of on the same page with things, and like he knows my style, so he knows what like I would want my line to look like. So that would be like probably more likely his job as far as drawing it out and creating it and everything. But yeah, I can't draw. I want to take sewing lessons. I want to learn how to sew though. So yeah,
I say do it. I say do it, man. So, who is your greatest like fashion icon?
that's funny. I just got off the phone with my brother. Uh, when when you say fashion icon, do you mean like a designer or a
It
model or?
it's up to you.
I think definitely influence for me, and I always say this because I feel like he still is like number one is Tyson Beckford. Like when he came into the modeling world, he he basically knocked down a lot of doors for black male models. He was the number one, and
He
he's
was, yeah.
every
He still kind of is. Like he's aged very well. Him and Naomi, like they both are still like on top of their game, and it's amazing.
yeah. And so I think that he's definitely one of my like top. and Naomi. As far as like designers, Carl Kanai, I because that was one of the first brands that I was able to find clothes that fit me, and I like.
Listen, I used to want a Carl Kanai suit. I remember when the whole Aaliyah ads and stuff. I used to want to be all.
Yeah, like
Carl Kanai was lit.
yeah, and so and he's actually he's still making clothes, and he has like the throwback stuff, and then he has some new stuff that's kind of like up to date with what's going on in fashion now, but he still has the old stuff. So I would love to work with him and maybe like partnership with him and do some shoots and stuff in some of his clothing. Uh, who else? It's a lot of brands that I like, and a lot of like people that I admire their style. As far as NBA, because that's kind of like those are the guys that are my height, and so
Right.
say who Dwayne Wade definitely. I love
Yeah,
like
he dresses very well.
yeah, dresses very well, and he has a partner that matches his fly. Like
Yeah,
whenever
I
him
love
and Gabby,
love her so
they look
much.
they look good together. It's like wow, like they did that. Who else? What's his name? And a lot of people really don't like the way he dressed. And I was just looking at his Instagram. I can't think of his name now. I kind of flustered a little bit.
You talking about the basketball player?
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about, but it's slipping me right now too. I know who you're talking about though. Damn it.
That's gonna bother me because how that. I think who actually LeBron has been dressing a lot better lately too. Like when LeBron first came out, his like
Is it because of Dwayne maybe?
I hope
Are you talking about Russell Westbrook?
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. As soon as you said it, I knew who you were talking about.
Yeah, and he takes a risk with his style. Like some of the stuff that he do, I would never do. But at the same time, I think that that's what fashion is about. You know,
It is. I agree with you. And I'm not even a big fashion person. Well, no, I'm like Anne Hathaway and Devil Wears Prada. It's because I'm always afraid to take risks that I'll shade fashion. But deep down inside, I really do enjoy fashion. But I think I was always one who hated shopping. Because I grew up like as an overweight kid. And so I used to hate being in the husky section. I used to hate all that stuff. And then also my parents weren't going to spend certain amounts of money on clothes. It's like, you don't get this and that's that. And I got to an age where I had other priorities. But now that I'm a little more fit and stuff like that, I am very much into fashion. I'm like, oh, this is nice. Oh, this fits well. So I'm one of those kind of like, I'm discovering it now. But I do think that fashion is about taking risk and having your own individual style and not looking like everybody else.
right? And it's fun to like you know find things or try things out. Try to because I think one thing that you truly have to know with fashion is you have to know your body and know like because I think that some people wear stuff that is not made for them, and you have to know that like uh you can't pull everything off. Like for instance, Lil Wayne's clothing line that he had, I don't even know if it's still around, but
I know you had one.
it was called I think Truck Fit, something like that. But yeah, I could never wear anything like first of all, look at me, look at Lil Wayne. Like the way Lil Wayne dresses, I could never wear stuff like that. And so like for me to even go to a store that sold his clothes and think that I'm gonna find something that I'm gonna like, it's like no, that's not my lane. Like it's more for a guy his height, his size, and all of that. But the flip side of that is I know tall guys who would dress like that and will still wear some of his clothes, and it's like that wasn't really you're not the demographic that they were making that line for. Like, so you have to like think about stuff like that when you buying clothes. And one thing that I always tell people too that I tend to try and find stuff that is classic. That's gonna like you could have it forever and wear it forever because I think clothing is an investment, and you will want to have things that you know 5 years from now you'll still be able to wear. You don't want stuff that you be like, "Why did I buy that? I don't even want to wear." Like I wore it once, and I don't even want to wear it no more. But you still, you know,
Agreed.
it's like, yeah, why did I do that? So I think that you got to make good decisions when making clothes. I mean, when buying clothes. to buy stuff that's gonna last, and you could get your money's worth out of it. And investing in a good tailor too. I think everybody could do that. As far as like making sure your stuff fit, because one thing is to have a nice outfit on, but it doesn't fit you right. Like,
That's real. That's funny because I had the question listed here for you, and I was going to ask you, what is a men's fashion pet peeve of yours? And I think you've listed too. Do you anything else that stands out that you hate seeing men do when they dress? So not shopping for your body is one,
shopping for your body.
and then you said not having the right fit.
Not having the right fit, definitely, because that goes a long way. That really goes a long way. That the way stuff fit on you, because you should wear your clothes. Your clothes shouldn't wear you. Um, shoes, shoes are very important, and I think that's like universal. Like everybody tends to look at someone's shoes when they first meet them or when they first see you. Like in any setting, like you kind of go down to the shoes.
It's true, and I'm so subconscious about that because I wasn't a big shoe person growing up. Like all I do is keep them clean, but I know I'm very much I have basics. I have brown, black, white. You know what I mean? Like I'm not a huge like collection shoe person, so I'm super subconscious about that when I go out. I'm always like, okay, are these the right shoes? Like it's interesting to me because I know that's an important thing. I hear what people say about other people's shoes. So I always think about that when I'm getting shoes.
Yeah, like you want to make sure that it goes with the outfit, or that and I know some people like it's some things you can't get around, but I know some people who kind of like their shoes will be looking like they have them laced up too tight and it looks awkward, it looks weird, or and sometimes it's some things that you just can't get around. But I think you know finding the right shoe is important too, because you could be short and have a big foot, but you could find a shoe that kind of like doesn't make your foot look as big. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to go away from stuff that's trendy and settle for something that's gonna make you look all the way put together. Because it's like if you're a short guy and you have big feet, but you want to get the shoe that everybody wearing now, well, that shoe might not look right on you because you already have big feet and you're a short guy. You know what I'm saying? So
like my mom used to always say like boat shoes.
you
like got boats on
a
your feet.
different shoe that's gonna go with your body. Like yeah, that's one of the things. Like shoes is definitely like important. Having the right shoe with the right outfit and everything. What else? Over accessorizing. I don't like dudes should never have on too many accessories. Like it's, it's just
Like what's the limit? Let me know the limit. What do you think the limit is for accessories with men? Like, would it just be like maybe if you're gonna have just a watch, or you're gonna have a ring, or you're gonna have what do you think the perfect balance is?
I think definitely okay, a watch, a ring, maybe a bracelet. If you wear glasses,
Oh, because glasses do count.
yeah.
Well, if they're prescription, do they count?
If they're not prescription,
Okay.
um,
Oh yeah, because hats too. That counts as accessory.
yeah, and scarves. Like it's kind of like you don't want to have too much on. And I heard someone say it's a saying that whenever you get dressed and when you think about when you have on all of the accessories that you want to put on, you look in the mirror and you take at least one off. So I was like, have you ever seen somebody like a dude that have on like 10 bracelets on one arm and 10 on the other arm?
I have. It's a lot.
And
But usually they're on some kind of rock star. They're usually like the eclectic type, so I let them rock. Anytime they have like a lot on, it usually goes with who they are as a person. So a lot of times, they're kind of like the Lenny Kravitz type, where they're just like they beat to their own drum.
Yeah, and that's true, but I just like sometimes it could be a little too much. But I get
like
that.
Overkill.
Yeah, I get that. So I would just say kind of like guy with what you're wearing. Like especially okay, so if you're wearing a suit, you definitely don't want to have all of that on with a suit.
Oh yeah, no, because it takes away from the suit.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. So I mean, like, I guess if you're wearing just a t-shirt and jeans, you could kind of throw a little bit more accessories on. But just kind of have a good balance of it. Like you still don't want to overdo it. It could get to be too much.
What about color? Like color and I know like skin tone and colors. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
See, I don't like really like subscribe to like how people say, well, you shouldn't wear certain colors or you shouldn't do this, da da da. Stuff should reflect your skin tone. I think with color, you should try whatever you feel because think
Yeah,
about it.
because you can. It's how you rock it.
Yeah, it's how you rock it, and it wearing color can change your mood too. Like it can make a certain color make you feel good. So it's like try anything, and you never know what looks good on you. I remember, I would kind of shy away from bright colors for a while, but at one point I was like, I'm gonna try it. And when I tried bright colors, I got a lot of compliments on it. Like that looks good on you. That color looks good on you. So I definitely think that guys should try, different colors. Just
Now, does time of the year matter?
time of the year kind of matters, because you don't want to do like the bright fluorescent stuff in the wintertime. And there's a way to pull off bright colors in the wintertime, but there's certain colors that are definitely more of a summer color, like those bright fluorescents and stuff like that. But
What's one example of how to pull it off in winter? Like, what's a way that you can? Let's say you have like a red shirt you want to wear. How would you be able to pull that off?
if it's like it could be a dark red,
Okay.
just a little bit more subtle, like
Okay.
not a bright, like jump at you type red.
Would you like put like a blazer over it or something?
Probably so, yeah.
Okay.
And and then too, like in the winter times with those colors, the materials might be different too. So it kind of like take on a different feel. Like it might be like during the holiday times, it's the thicker cloth, the thicker cotton, button up stuff like that. So the shirt will have a different feel to it. It'll be more geared towards wintertime, so the color might be a little adjusted. So yeah, I definitely think that you could pull it off in the wintertime. Like I said, I wouldn't tell nobody to stay away from any color. Like
Try it. You owe it to yourself to try it.
yep. And then
Because continue. Sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying like with me, like I grew up in Los Angeles and gang banging and all that shit. So my mom pretty much convinced me that I didn't like red or blue. Like literally as a kid, because I always liked both of those colors. But she was like, no, you don't. You like green. Like she would convince me like, like either of those colors because it was for my safety. So for the longest time I shied away from those colors. But now that I'm like in Georgia and I'm grown as hell, I found that I really enjoy red a lot.
Okay.
And I enjoy blue too, but I really enjoy red. I think I look really good in brighter colors and stuff like that too, so I enjoy them. But it wasn't until I played around and said, oh, this does look good on me. Or playing around with, because I've always considered myself a classic. Like you said, I like classic things that last a long time. A lot of my clothes I can wear for years and years because I like basics. I like button ups. I like polos. I like, simple shoes. I don't take a lot of risk. Now, recently I started buying I had the jeans I have on now have like the ripples in them and stuff. I would never wear this before, but I know it has a time period on it. There's going to be a time where this isn't it anymore, but I like the classic kind of Levi look and stuff like that. So things last. But lately I've been trying more like lighter color pants and switching up the slacks and switching up the shoes. And it also makes me feel really, really good.
Yeah.
Like when you try something new and you just feel really good in it, that's great too.
Yeah, and it's comfortable. Like you feel comfortable in it, so that definitely makes it even better. So yeah, like I say, with fashion, I try any and everything. But if you don't feel comfortable in it, or if you look in the mirror and you say, yeah, this is not for me, then it's probably not. Like
right, take it off because you have to, like you said, you have to wear it. It can't wear you, and people can tell when you're uncomfortable.
Yeah, definitely. So, and I guess my other thing would be more so on the grooming side, like, and I know we have people who, the grunge look is their look, but like just how do I put this?
You say I say control it like a controlled mess. Like you can it could be grunge, but it could also be lined up in a way where it's a controlled
Yeah,
grunge.
and with that, like you want to make sure that like it looks clean, like because you could have a grunge look and it's kind of like, ooh, did you wash that beard? Did you?
I think one of the best grunge examples, or one of them, yeah, one of them, I think is Miguel. What he's doing right now, like with like his hair and kind of like it's like kind of all over the place, but it's still he doesn't look dirty, if that
Right,
makes sense.
and that's the
Like it,
thing. Like you want to pull grunge off and still look clean.
yeah. Maybe some people do want to look dirty. I don't know. You know, you gotta let people rock.
Yeah.
It's where they are at that certain moment. So tell me something. What are some of your favorite places to go to get like looks and fashion, like magazines or websites? Where are some places that you frequent?
Um, I don't know how to pronounce this because I never really heard anyone who works for the company say it. So I don't know. It's either ASOS or ASOS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like some of their stuff. You got to be careful with them too, though, because their sizes run a little smaller than what they say, but they actually have tall. They have a tall section, so they have longer lengths and pants and stuff. So I like them. Um, and the one thing, like I say, with creating the site was to show guys because a lot of people didn't know. Gap, Banana Republic, Old Navy, which is all the same company, they have big and tall on their website. So you could order extended sizes and longer lengths on their website. So I definitely check with them. And, the prices are reasonable. Even with Target, Target also, on their online, you could get extended sizes. So I definitely frequent Target a lot. Macy's, I love Nike. Anything Nike, I'm for it. And
Nice.
and on Nike's website too, they have some of their workout stuff is geared to tall guys too. So who else? JC Penney's was one place where I would always, like when I was younger, would always get stuff when I was younger. And my
That catalog was lit. That catalog back in the day,
yeah,
man.
that's where my mother would get a lot of my clothes from then. And I've done some work with JCPenney last year in, what was it, July, for the Curvy Fashionista Expo, and we got to order some stuff from JCPenney's to wear at the expo and talk about it and everything. So JCPenney's definitely, and what they're trying to do now is they're trying to have more of an online presence with their big and tall. So they definitely have some nice things for guys. So I would recommend guys checking them out too for their online big and tall. Who else?
And what I've noticed here, what you've also said is a lot of these places are online. So would you go ahead and say that people should also know their exact measurements so they're able to get the right stuff online? Because I know you can't. I know you can send the stuff back a lot of the times, but I know it has to be frustrating not being able to go into a store and try the stuff on. So would you suggest certain type of measurements people should have before ordering, or a way that they can kind of navigate it where they can kind of figure out if it's going to fit?
Right. Yeah, I think definitely knowing your measurements will help. But like with stuff like with Levi's, if you kind of know your Levi's fit, because that's the thing too with designers, a 38 in Levi's might not be a 38 in Calvin Klein. So it's like you kind of gotta know the difference between the brands also. So knowing your measurements definitely is important. In which DXL, Destination XL, they have it's a big and tall clothing store, which used to be Rochester's big and tall. I think there's still a couple of locations that are still Rochester's clothing, which I like the Rochester's clothing brand when the store was the Rochester's. I kind of liked it a little better then, because now with DXL and Casual Male Big and Tall have merged. So all of the stores that were Casual Male Big and Tall are DXL now. and I think there's still a few Casual Male Big and Tall, which that was one of my first retail jobs, was working at Casual Male Big and Tall.
Oh, nice.
Right, but the thing with their clothes at the time, I would think I was in ninth or 10th grade when I started working there. I didn't want to wear any of them clothes because they were clothes like for old men, like old men at that. And so
Right, like Hawaiian shirts.
like, that's not me. I'll sell it to somebody else, but I'm not gonna wear it. So it's a lot of stores, and actually, and for shoes, and I've been mean. I need to go. I need to get out more and kind of try and like form some partnerships with some of the local places in Atlanta. Because Friedman shoes in Atlanta. Now Friedman's goes from a size, I want to say size 6 or 7, all the way up to size 22 in shoes, and that's where a lot of the athletes, professional athletes and stuff in Atlanta, or some fly here to get shoes from them, and they have a real good selection of dress shoes and casual shoes that go up to size 22. Uh, what else? Walters for like gym shoes, Nike and Jordans and all that. Walters has a good selection, and that's right by Georgia State. They also sell clothing in Walters also, so they have bigger sizes in clothing and the longer lengths, and they have sportswear. Who else where you could go in the store and get things? Um, Dillard's. I love Dillard's. Their big and tall section is really good, and they have like Dillard has some of their own store brands, like Roundtree in York. What's another one that they have that's their store brand? I know I definitely get it. I've got some pants and shirts from Roundtree in York, which is sold only at Dillard's, and the Polo store. Usually if you go to like the Polo outlet store, they have the section with the extended sizes, and Macy's. I think I said Macy's, but yeah. So there's definitely stores that you could go to and actually try the stuff on, but it's just more of a selection is online because it's not every day that everybody's not 6'10" or taller and have those problems, so they don't carry a lot of it in the store, but it's usually a light selection of it.
But I think that's why your platform is important. I think that's why I'm also very impressed by it, because what you're doing is you're creating a representation of it, and that's very important. As we can see with everything, representation matters. And I think a lot of times the really really petite and the really really tall get ignored. And you guys have had this entire struggle for years, and none of us really know about it because we're just going into the store and just trying on our stuff. So it's important that you have this thing, and you've shown on this show that you are a great resource for all things fashion when it comes to being tall. So can you tell people where to find you online?
They can find me at robmosley.com. My Instagram is robmosleycom. Twitter is Rob Mosley. Facebook, I have the Rob Mosley Facebook page also, and I think that's everything. Did I say?
Listen, your branding is on point, and I'll have all of these in the show notes as well, so you guys will be able to just go ahead and just click. But definitely check out his site. It's very well done. He is like he said, it's more than just fashion. He has things about music. He has conversations with like a talk show, like The Talk.
Yeah,
it's kind of like
real quick. The Talk. I feature one thing about The Talk is I wanted to, because all tall guys are not like, we're not the same body type. We're not we're not doing the same type of work, and we all do not play basketball. So with The Talk, I wanted to kind of showcase a different guy every month, and who's I usually go with guys that's 6'3" and above, and like from different backgrounds, and just kind of like ask them questions about like their shopping experiences. What are some of their favorite brands, stuff, because they might know something that I don't know in about another brand that works, and so I could in turn try that product out too. So, and just interview them and ask them different questions, and
See, I done found out the secret. So it's everybody 6'3" and above. Oh, I'm about to be watching all the talk. Oh my Lord, I love being tall nigga. Lord. Oh yeah. So basically, every time I see that come down my timeline, just go ahead and click that link.
Yeah, everybody.
Now you
I think the shortest that I've had was 6'2".
Ooh, man, yeah. See, that's why that's a part of your engagement. That's why it's moving so fast. You've done a lot of things. Oh, so before I let you go, what will you say what has been your biggest achievement with RonMosley.com since it started?
I think I to say honestly, the biggest achievement was just getting it out there, because that was a part that I kind of like went back and forth for a while with. The site was actually finished in September, October of 2016, but I didn't do anything with it because I was like, I don't want to have a site that it's like you post something and then it's nothing for a couple months, and you don't really have things planned out well and everything. So I wanted to make sure that I had content, and even during that time, from like, because I released it January of 2017, actually on New Year's Day, I believe. I was just like, look, I got to do it. I got to put it out there. So I just went on and did it, and from that moment, it was like, okay, people were receptive to it. They liked it. They was like, okay, we want more. So it's like I always try and make sure that I'm doing things that's going to keep people, engaged and draw to the site. So putting it out there was my biggest,
You've done a great job.
Yeah.
You've done a great job. Like I scroll through your targeting for your marketing is on point, because literally every time I scroll, I'm seeing one of your ads or a new photo. I'm like, listen, you stay with a photo, and I'm here for it. As a photographer, I'm here for it and kind of jealous. I'm like, wait a minute now. You don't work with every photographer in Atlanta. Well, that's another conversation we can have later. But I am very impressed with your marketing strategy. And I wish you the absolute best. And I'm glad to actually have you on the show, because I know it's only up from here for you. Like, you have an amazing site, and I love your branding. So congrats on that.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm going to let you go. All right, that's this week's episode of the Outline Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation I had with Ron Mosley. Make sure you go and check out his website at ronmosley.com. Please check the show notes on this podcast, so you can just go ahead and click the link so you can follow him, you can follow me, you can check out our sponsors and all of that good stuff. Please remember to use the hashtag the Outline Podcast using your favorite quotes from the show. Make sure you tag me, share it with your friends, leave your comments and ratings on Apple Podcasts to move us up in the ranks. But as always, thank you so much for your support, and I will talk to you all next week. Peace out.